everybody, welcome to the Stock Car Spectacle. I'm Ian Jortson.
I'm Nick Kinzel.
I'm Tom Hovland.
And Super Bowl just ended last night as of Sunday, and everybody knows what that means. It's 1 week from the Daytona 500. Guys, this is when the season actually kicks off. We had the Clash, a little preseason racing, but this is where it all goes down. The biggest race of the year, the Daytona 500. Boys, how we feeling going into this week?
Yeah, I'm excited.
I'm excited. Go ahead.
We did it at the same time. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, I'm excited. Football's over. We're making that trip down. We got 2 days to go before we hit the road for Daytona. I still can't believe we're doing it. I don't think that's gonna really set in until we actually get there. It doesn't feel real, but it's exciting. This is the most exciting race of the year, and it's the first race of the year. So yeah, I'm ready to get down there.
It's fun to finally put the whole off-season hype behind us and see cars on tracks and all three series competing. All the storylines go away and everybody's at square one and they're off to set their own destiny.
Yep. It is the start of a new story for the NASCAR season, and I'm just excited to see how everything is going to unfold, especially with this first race. So many great stories come out of this weekend. And yeah, Nick, I'm stoked to go to our first Daytona 500. Going to be a long trek down there, but man, we are going to enjoy it when we're there. Hopefully it doesn't rain. It looks like it's going to rain now Sunday and Monday.
Sweet.
But we know
Oh,
how Florida
geez.
weather goes. That shit can just go away like that. So I'm not too worried about it. But either way, guys, let's start off our show with our diecast of the week. Nick, what you got for us, buddy?
Well, I think you know what I'm pulling out. I pull this car out once a year for this reason. The Daytona 500 has a lot of meaning for me because that was the first NASCAR race that I ever watched, and that was the race that got me into the sport. And the first race I ever watched, 2011 Daytona 500, where my boy, Mr. Trevor Bayne, took that car to victory lane in the 21 Wood Brothers car. I love this paint scheme and that just crazy. That was his second ever Cup Series race and his first and only win in the Cup Series as a Daytona 500. So the Cup Series success might not have been there, but he gets to call himself a Daytona 500 champ for life. So yep, got the beautiful race win car here and got the hat to go with it. Yeah, it's crazy. February 20th, 2011. So 13 years ago is when I got into this sport. But yeah, always loved seeing this car in victory lane.
Instant
Absolutely,
legend.
man. Yep. That is just a classic car right there. It's just always just so cool when they talk about Trevor Bayne winning the Daytona 500. He was only
Well,
20 years old.
20 years old. It's just crazy because he wrecked that car in the duel, and they didn't even know if they were going to get that thing going. They didn't have a backup car, so it was either fix that car or go home. And he started like 33rd in the race, and he worked his way up there. Everybody was wanting to work with him. His hero growing up was Jeff Gordon, and Jeff Gordon was like, I need to work with that. I need to work with that kid because the 21 was just it was the best pusher all day. And then David Reagan got that penalty for switching lanes before the green went out, and we were just there. Thank you, Bobby Labonte. That's all I got to say.
Such a great story. All right, Tom, what you got for your diecast of the week?
Mine is much less important to me. I reached into my box of diecast from when I was a kid and pulled out a random one. I didn't even look. So here's Mark Martin's Valvoline classic car. But when I think Mark Martin, the Daytona 500, it's when Kevin Harvick won that race and Mark Martin got so close. So that was an excellent race. And I think back to that race and I think about how far back Kevin Harvick came to win that race. And we might be able to see some of these runs this year with this car, but we haven't seen it in the past. But when we went to the Talladega race, we saw some really good racing. So I'm just excited to see what kind of stuff they can pull up together during this race.
Yep, Super Speedway package finally started getting real good. I think the last Daytona race in the summer, that was fantastic. And then Talladega was even better. So I really hope this Daytona 500 is just a banger. It looks like it is going to be. just with all the talents that are in there. But dude, I love that Mark Martin car. That 6 font is probably one of my favorite like fonts in like
Yeah,
all of NASCAR.
it's
It
iconic
looks
for
so
sure.
wild. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So for my diecast of the week, yeah, we're talking Daytona, and it was just kind of leaked that Noah Gragson is going to be partnered once again with Bass Pro and Black Rifle Coffee. So I have to bust out his first NASCAR Xfinity Series win from Daytona in 2020. Uh, Probably one of the best paint schemes I've ever seen in the Xfinity Series, besides Elliott's Napa scheme. And I know that Nick can back me up on that.
Oh
That is a
yeah, you
beautiful paint scheme
cannot
that he ran,
cannot beat that one.
but this car is just iconic. I mean, he ran it all the time, and I can't wait to see it back on the 10 car because it looks like it's going to be the same exact paint scheme, like they're going to be throwing it back to his first Xfinity win. So I'm excited for Daytona.
That'd be sweet.
All right, guys. So yeah, I just mentioned it. Looks like Black Rifle Coffee, Bass Pro is back with Noah. That's good to see. He's got more sponsors. It was announced that Frankie Muniz is going to be attempting to make his Xfinity debut at Daytona. I think that's great. It looked like he wasn't going to have a ride at all, but now he gets to race in the second biggest series in NASCAR, but he has to qualify his way in.
Yeah.
He's not a full-time driver, so guys, pressure is
Mhm.
on for Malcolm in the middle.
Well, I just feel bad
He's
for him
got
because he doesn't have a great car to try and qualify for. Joey Gase cars, we're going to a track where that raw speed really matters here. I'm worried for him. I think it would be great if he is. I think it'd be great for the sport if he is able to qualify that thing in there. I just think it's gonna be really tough with just given the
he's
equipment that he
got
has to do it in.
but he's got the backing from Ford. He's got the Ford Performance sponsorship, and hopefully they're sending them stuff his way.
I
Um,
hope.
and he's got 25th ownership points from back there, so he's in. Like, say qualifying gets rained out, I believe he's in,
Right.
but he's got a better chance of just being in. I think he does it. I think it's a cool story. I think everybody wants him to succeed. Nobody wants to see him fail. I mean, he's what, 38 years old. Like, it's now or never for this guy. He's got a few years of he's got a couple years to prove himself, or people aren't going to give him much thought after that. So maybe he can just live in the Xfinity series, but this is a great step. He's got to go.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, who would have thought? I mean, I remember watching Malcolm in the Middle when I was just a little kid, when this show was like the episodes were still coming out, and now seeing him like in NASCAR, like it's two worlds I never would have thought would have collided. Like next thing you know, Bryan Cranston's going to be a crew chief.
Yeah. I mean, we see it from time to time. These actors, they get the bug for race. You have Patrick Dempsey, who is forever on Grey's Anatomy. He now races sports cars all over the world. And then another big name that comes to mind is David Letterman, who bought into Letterman Lanigan, Ray Hall Letterman Lanigan. It's a mouthful, racing, and they just ran in the Rolex 24. So it's cool that we get our own little slice of it in NASCAR, and he's no slouch. I mean, he raced well. He had a lot of equipment issues last year, but you can't blame the driver. You got to on solely on that. So if he can put himself and keep it clean, he'll be in position to finish quite well.
Yeah, I do believe so. He's got the talent and he proved it. He was running second in
Mhm.
points in ARCA for a while during the season. So the guy can race
No,
and
and
he proved all the haters wrong.
it's something he really wants to do too. It's not some publicity stunt, some
Mhm.
last hurrah to stay in the limelight. Like, no, it's like you hear interviews with him. He's passionate about this. He's always liked doing it. I mean, there's photos of him as a kid at old Daytona 500s and whatnot. So
Yeah.
like he's been around the sport. He knows the sport and he's passionate about it, which is all we can ask for.
Yeah, that's really great to see. Alrighty, so our little bit of news that we have last year is the man himself, DJ Khaled, will be waving the green flag for the Daytona 500. Nick, you sent this to me and Patrick earlier today, and I was like, what the fuck? My first Daytona 500, and DJ Khaled's gonna wave the green flag. Dude, he's gonna drop that
I
fucking
was gonna
thing.
say that'd be funny as hell. No, we got a lot of bit. these big races, they bring out the big stars. So we got quite the lineup here.
I
With the
guess
Rock
somehow
giving.
screaming your name in the intro of songs gets you famous, and goddamn, dude.
Yeah.
Hope he doesn't
I
drop it.
mean,
Hope he doesn't drop it.
Yeah.
he's recognizable. Hopefully, he brings some eyes to the sport. I don't, we have like all these celebrities wave the green flag, and they have special guests wave the green flag every once in a while, and you never see them drop it. So
Hmm.
they do good
But
because that'd be
He,
a media
if there was
caution
one,
too. But
if there was
yeah,
one guy to do it, he would be the one.
yep.
no, I just think he's gonna stay up in the flag stand the whole race, and every time the cars come by, he's just gonna say another one,
Another one.
another one, as the cars just drive around, and then they drive around as another one. They won't be able to get him down there.
He just has the craziest mindset. Just like the random things that he just says. Like, oh my God. Have you ever seen the video of him getting lost at sea on his jet ski? It is fucking hilarious. Like it like turns the nighttime and he's like taking video and it's just pitch black and he's like, I don't know where I am, but another one.
Oh
God's
my
with me. And
goodness.
I'm like, what is going on in this guy's head right now? But yep, that's who's gonna wave the flag, green flag for the Great American Race on Sunday. So
Oh, so that's gonna be great. That's gonna be
Cool.
great.
oh
Cool.
man. All right, guys. So let's get into our Daytona preview. Gonna be a stacked weekend. Got all three series, four if you want to call ARCA racing, I guess.
Series.
But yeah, it's a series of buffoons. But we'll stick with the main series here. We got the truck series starting off the weekend. 100 laps. Stages 1 and 2 are 20 laps each, and the final is going to be 60. Going to be an absolute wreck fest, in my opinion. This race, I mean, the championship race from last season was an absolute shit show. So, and we got a bunch of new names in here. A bunch of guys have moved on. The veterans, I guess, have moved on with Zane Smith and Carson Hocevar, if you want to call him one of the veterans. But yeah, it's got a lot of new faces
Sure.
in here. It's gonna be madness here at Daytona, like we always see. So, guys, we got a lot of new names in here. The entry list is filled. Who are we picking to win this truck race? Who is going to survive this truck race?
You're saying this is going to be a shit show, but you still have a lot of good drivers in here that know what they're doing. It's not like, yeah, they're new names, but they're not new faces. I don't know. There's a lot going on. Tony Breidinger, I just noticed that she's making a start here.
Hmm.
In the one. So like they know what they're doing and whatnot, and there may be a little bit of jitters. There's young guys, but there's old guys. I think personally that we're gonna see the people that know what they're doing rise to the top as long as they can survive some of the early race jitters with it. And I'm gonna pick a name who's a veteran of the sport, but maybe not quite a veteran of the truck series, not recently at least. I'm gonna go with Ty Dillon, taking over that Rackley War truck, who spent a lot of time in terrible equipment in the Cup Series. But he's not a great driver, but he's had success in the trucks before. This team has had success on super speedways. So I think that's a good combination. And Ty Dillon will show us that it hasn't been a bad driver all these past years. He's just been in terrible Cup equipment.
Hmm.
Yeah. The name of the game for the truck series at Daytona is survival, because these guys they're just inexperienced. Yeah, we got some old heads in there, but just a lot of young guys just getting their start. So, and I think that Daytona, it just brings out great stories. And one guy who's this will be his first full time season in the trucks this year. I'm taking Lane Riggs. Why not? It's Daytona. Anything can happen. Uh, he got a couple starts with Cog in the Xfinity Series last year, and now he's taking over a very good ride. He's taking over Zane Smith's ride. So expect him to be fast this season. If he could, it's going to take him, I'd imagine it's going to take him a little bit to get adjusted. But yeah, this is Daytona. Great stories can happen here. If he could survive, why not? Anybody's got a shot here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you want to look at
agreed.
the veteran drivers and the veteran teams, and Front Row Motorsports definitely knows how to get it done,
Yeah.
especially on the super speedways.
Absolutely. All right, guys. I know we talked a little bit before the show who the picks are going to be, but I'm going to switch mine up. I am going to
Uh-oh.
go with the 45 truck of Johnny Sauter. He's coming in for a
Oh,
one-off
Okay.
for this race. He's got 3 wins at Daytona in the Truck Series. Nice Motorsports, they've had some struggles, but I think they can compete here at the Super Speedway. Johnny Sauter, smart veteran driver. I think he can drive around these dumbass kids and put himself in victory lane for a 4th time at Daytona. Guy is a hell of a driver. He's been out of it for a little bit, so I think he still has it in him.
Oh yeah, and like with these tracks and these races, it's like you want to work with people that know what they're doing too. So you're going to see these veteran drivers link up, work together, and get to the front and leave these new kids in the dust too. So you want to work again with the veteran teams, the veteran drivers, and honestly, Johnny Sauter's an excellent pick there. He knows what he's doing. He's been around a long time.
Yeah, once I saw his name, I was like, nope, gotta go with Johnny. He's a smart one. All right, guys. So trucks are picked. Let's go with our Xfinity Series picks for Saturday. We got the United Rentals 300. We got 300 miles, 120 laps. Stages 1 and 2 will be 30 laps each, and the final will be 60. Like I said, it's a lot of new faces in new places for the Xfinity Series. We got a lot of drivers, 44 entries for this one, and only 38 drivers can make it in. So there's going to be some people coming home not so happy. But guys, we're talking about who is going to win this race. And Tom, we'll start off with you. Who's going to be winning on Saturday for the Xfinity Series debut?
Who is going to win this race? There's again the Xfinity um, restrictor plate track program. It just puts out such good racing that so many of these cars on this list can do it. Um, but I'm going to pick a guy that made a huge splash, and he's going to keep his momentum going. He's skipping Truck Series. He won every race last year in the ARCA Series, or everything basically. And then he switched manufacturers, and he's going to show us that 2 car still got it, and it's Jesse Love. He knows what he's doing out there. He's built a reputation for himself, frankly, already, and I think he has what it takes to go out there. And so does the RCR program at these super speedway tracks. They're top notch there.
Yeah, dude,
2 car in victory lane.
not a bad pick at all. Like you said, RCR
Mhm.
and the Chevys, they just work so well together at these super speedways. So we'll see if Austin Hill will be nice to his teammate this year.
Oh, I mean, yeah, but you could also, again, you could throw a dart at this list and pick a winner
Oh
just as
yeah,
easily. So,
yeah, a lot of big names, a lot of opportunities for these guys. All right, Nick, who you got winning on Saturday?
well, like you did with your truck pick, I am now going to switch my Xfinity Series pick. Just thinking about it, especially here at this track, Junior Motorsports seems to really work well together at these tracks. So I'm going to go with a JRM driver. I'm going to go with a new JRM driver. He's taking over that 8 car this year. I'm going to take Sam
mm,
Smith. That he looks like a good one to me. He left Joe Gibbs Racing to come over here to Junior Motorsports. He's bringing Pilot back with him too. So what better way in your debut race for Dale Jr. than to go out and win it? If the JRM cars can play nice together, then they should be fine. That's the key though. They got to
yeah.
play
Hold on.
nice.
You said they worked well together, but I remember last year in this race they were all leading and they all
Well,
took each other out
for for
in this
90
specific race.
for 98.5% of the race, they work
Yeah.
well together. And then once we get down to crunch time,
I mean, yeah,
it's
we see it.
all
We
hell
see it.
breaks
Last 10
loose.
laps, it's you're out there for yourself. So,
Yep.
All hell breaks loose. But if
mhm.
these guys can play nice, then Junior Motorsports should have no problem. And I think Sammy Smith's gonna get it done in his JRM debut.
Yeah, I like that pick. And as we were saying with the Truck Series, it's all about the veterans. We just picked 2 very young guys to race there. So,
Why not?
Ian, who are you thinking here for Xfinity?
Well, guys, we're all talking kind of inexperienced guys who hasn't really won. Well, I'm going with Sheldon Creed as well. This is a guy who's moving over to a new organization, new manufacturer, from RCR to Joe Gibbs Racing. A little bit of a bad blood ending at RCR with his teammate Austin Hill. So you know that Sheldon Creed wants to prove himself. show that he's not a dud in the series, and go out and win this race with his new team. I think that would be phenomenal. I love
It's gonna
Sheldon
be a
Creed. I think he's got a great story. And I want to see him in victory lane these Xfinity Series cars because he's been so close, but just shit luck every single time.
those Joe Gibbs cars are stout all year wherever they go. So I don't think you can go wrong with any of those three. But I do like the storyline that would set and the precedent that would set for Sheldon Creed specifically if he can
Yep,
pull this one off.
this would be his big opportunity here.
I've
All
kind of
right.
forgotten about a lot of these Xfinity storylines from the offseason, of all these guys switching manufacturers and all that. It's just it's going to be fun to watch. So this series is another one that's up for the taking.
Yeah, it's just crazy how many drivers have left the Toyota program in the past few years. Like they have
For
lost
sure.
so many good ones.
Yeah, but they're still stacked.
Yeah, they're still
Yeah.
Picking up
stacked.
all these people, and like they brought people back into the Toyota program too. I mean, Eric Jones is back now
Yeah, I
too.
never would
Like,
have
yeah,
thought Eric Jones
it's
would be back with Toyota.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I mean, you got Daniel Suarez in this race. You got Chandler Smith is back here at the Joe Gibbs Racing again. Who would have thought that would happen?
Yep.
Parker Kligerman is going to be out there, and people are going to want to work with him. There's so many names in this race that could all get it done. Again, throw a dart at this list.
Yeah.
Yep. You guys just look out for that the 21, 2, and the 48 because our buddy Dalton Good wrapped those cars and they look beautiful. So can't wait to see him out on
Awesome.
track. Alrighty, guys. So let's talk the big one, the Great American Race, the Daytona 500. Best way to start off the season with our very own Super Bowl. We got 500 miles, 200 laps. Stages 1 and 2 are going to be 65 laps each, and the final will be 70. Guys, this one is always a big one. You can have someone make a name for themselves in this race, just like Trevor Bayne did in 2011, or you could have Denny Hamlin go on and win a fourth one. It's all up in the air. You got to have friends with this race. You got to stay out of the chaos. So, with that being said, I am going to pick the number 10 car of Noah Gragson, making his comeback from last season with a new team. Fords know how to work well here. So, I'm going with that 10, man. Call me a homer. I don't care. I know I pick Noah all the time, but man, it feels good to be back, especially in this 10 car with Seward Haas Racing, a team that I used to root for all the time with Kevin Harvick. So good to be back home. I want to see Noah put that 10 car in victory lane, do something that Danica couldn't.
All those
What a
drivers at Stewart Haas have less Cup experience than Eric Jones. And you
Yep.
just think they're gonna we're gonna see Trevor Bayne again? No offense.
It's
Like-
possible, man.
I don't know. I'll be happy for you if it happens.
Have you seen
I
the
don't
Daytona
I
500,
don't
man?
see
It
it
is the
happening.
wildest race ever.
Have I
What a-
seen the Daytona
what a-
500? Oh my
what a
goodness.
story that would be. What a story that would be.
I mean, I'm
I
sure
have
some
seen
crazy guy said, you know what, Michael McDowell's gonna win this Daytona 500. Everyone's like, oh, shut the fuck up. No
Yeah.
way. But dude, that shit happens, man. You just see some of the weirdest winners win that race.
I don't know. Something in me is telling me for the past 3 years we've had new Daytona 500 champions, and I think it's time. I think it's going to happen. I'm not picking one, but I think it's time that somebody else repeats again. We get a somebody's name second, third, fourth time on that list.
All right, so
Yeah.
who you got for the
But
500? then?
I'm not picking one because that would be no fun. Besides, the only one that I can think of that's in this field is Denny. Who else has won the Daytona 500 in the year?
No McDowell,
Brad?
Cindric.
Brad hasn't won. Yeah, those people don't count. I mean, they do. Michael McDowell, we got Michael McDowell, we got Stenhouse. I guess Austin Dillon has won.
Oh yeah,
Austin
Oh,
is-
yeah.
I always
Does
forget
he have
about
two
that.
or just one?
He just has
Just the one.
He just has one.
Because then he
Okay.
won the Daytona summer race when everyone wrecked and
Right,
when the rain came out.
Yes. Okay. I think, and you changed your pick on trucks. Nick changed his pick in Xfinity. I initially pre-show said Martin Truex, but I'm gonna switch it up. I still think we're gonna keep it Toyota, but I think the 23 car ends up in victory lane.
Ooh. That'd
And
be awesome.
absolute, and Twitter explodes. NASCAR
Yep.
Twitter explodes with that. But Bubba has finished second in this race twice. He's he's right. He wants it so bad, and we have extra Toyotas on the track, and Bubba's going to do what it takes to stay in front of the field when all hell breaks loose at the end. Bubba Wallace.
All right. I love that. I would go crazy to see a Bubba Daytona 500 win in person.
That would be sick.
Yep.
That would
Be
be sick.
nuts. I wish I could be there.
So who I'm picking, it's just crazy to me that you think of this guy and that he doesn't have a Daytona 500 yet. With how good that he's been, he's one of the best super speedway guys out there. All those wins at Talladega. I think has he won at Daytona before? I don't think so.
I think
Oh,
he's
he has.
No,
I'm gonna run
I'm
the
pretty sure
racing
he's won
reference.
the summer race.
Has he?
I'm like
Well, I don't know.
75% sure.
Well, he's a very good super speedway racer, and it just baffles me that he doesn't have one. And he's so due. I think he's on like a 98 race winless streak right now. I'm going with the 6 car of Brad Keselowski.
Mhm.
Oh, so close these past couple of years of finding victory lane. And like I said, he's a stout super speedway racer. I believe he finished second to Chris Buescher in the summer race here a year
Yep.
ago for
1-2
RFK.
RFK finish. Yep.
1-2 RFK Racing. He's due.
He's
It
won.
is his time.
He's won the duels. He's won the. I think he's won the Clash when it was around the oval. Like he
I'm
knows how to
sure.
do it in the spring.
He's just one of those guys that you go to a super speedway race and you expect him to run up front. So yeah, it's his time. I would love to see Brad Keselowski get his first Daytona 500
So you want my
and his
dad to
first
get a little
win.
bit of taste of victory at the start of
Yeah,
the season, and then
yeah. Why not? Yeah, why not? It's time. It's time for him to get that first RFK win too.
Oh yeah, imagine not only winning the Daytona 500, which is its own beast, but winning it while driving for yourself is something else entirely. And I think that would be so special for him and for that whole organization and whatnot. I mean, and they're bringing a third car, hoping to have some extra help too in that
yeah.
60 car
David
with
Reagan.
David Reagan,
Yep.
who is also a stout restrictor plate super speedway type racer. So I think that's another solid pick. The Ford has the new body. You got to think it's more aerodynamic and ready to go. Those fins on the fenders shoot up so high. Look
Yeah.
like they're peeking out from behind the fender wells there. But no, I think that's an excellent pick.
Yeah. Great pick. Man, I just cannot wait for this race. I cannot wait to see cars on track and just get this season going because we're not going to have a weekend without racing until the end of July. So, guys,
It's a beautiful thing.
buckle up because we're going to be here every week for you guys talking about it. But I think that'll about wrap things up. You guys, anything else to close on before we end it here?
These next 2 days are going to be hell at work. Just trying to get through work these next 2 days because
It's going to go a lot longer.
I'm just so amped up. It's going to be an amazing time down there. 13 years later, the race that got me into NASCAR, I'll be there. So I'm excited.
Yeah, it's such a special week, and it feels like last season just ended yesterday, and it also feels like last season ended 10 years ago. And this week is going to be extra long, just waiting and waiting and waiting. But I think we got cars on track Thursday at the earliest. So
Wednesday
for
qualifying.
Wednesday is qualifying.
Yeah, we won't be there. We're
leaving
Wednesday night.
A comment about how NASCAR is completely dropping the ball, especially at the Cup Series, that they're not even letting these cars practice before they go out there. I mean, we had 2 of the 3 cars change their body shapes. We have cars trying to make the race the first time they're going to be on track is for qualifying. It's utterly ridiculous. The big race of the year deserves more.
Yeah. And they do it for cost cutting, but honestly, if you can't afford the race in the Cup Series, go down to Xfinity because this is the premiere.
Yeah.
We need to do everything we can to get these drivers ready, have it adjusted the way they want it, because they're just going to be going into the qualifying and be like, fuck, I don't like this. And then they're going to go into the draft and they're going to be completely screwed. So yeah, Tom, I'm right there with you. Bring practice back for the super speedways.
Well, it just sucks because it just. Go ahead.
Denny says that cutting doesn't equal growth. Yeah, it saves the team's money in the short run, but your sport's not going to grow. And one of the best parts about NASCAR is having the cars on the track doing what they're doing, showing what these guys can do, and practice and qualifying and all that stuff does mean something. And the more you have these cars on the track and more showing off how special these drivers and these teams are and what they're capable of, the more people you're going to bring in and want to watch and be a part of our wonderful sport.
Yeah.
I miss the speed week, the old speed week element of it, where we would go. They would get cars on track the Friday, the week before the Daytona 500. They would have clash practice, and then we would run. We would run the clash, and then also on that day we would have Daytona 500 qualifying practice. So they would get out there, they would get the practice, and then qualifying for the 500 would be the Sunday before the 500, and then they'd have a couple practices throughout the week before we got to the duels, and then practices after. Like, I get it, they don't want all those practices, but man, it just really takes away from that old speed week element when we used to have that.
Oh yeah.
At least
And
let these guys get their cars out on track, because you had a couple cars last year, those open cars. The one was bouncing all around, like the rear wheels were locked up. Some people, I think Chandler Smith was having trouble getting his car started. Like,
Yeah.
give him an hour and a half, 2-hour practice session just to work out the little wrinkles and everything. It would make such a better product and make everything so much more intriguing.
Yep. It would make drivers more happy. It would make fans more happy, because one of my favorite things about going to the track was spending the whole day there, watching practice, watching Xfinity practice, and then some qualifying, walking around the track in between it. You got to spend your whole day at the track. Now you're just going there for qualifying and the race, or not even qualifying. We won't see it, so we're just going to be seeing the duels, which, I mean, I'm glad they're still doing the duels at least, so that's fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, got to bring back practice, got to make these drivers happy. But I think that'll be a good point for us to end on. I'm so excited for this weekend, guys. I hope everybody has fun watching the Daytona 500. I hope my driver beats all your favorite drivers. Sorry, Danny, I know you retired it, but I'm going to keep it going.
Yeah, if Kyle doesn't win this race, I'll be sad, and I don't think it ever happens again. But it's for another day.
Hey, man, then it'll be 30 years of trying, 30 years of frustration. Kyle will write his own story. All right, everybody. Well, thanks for tuning in. Make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Make sure to like our video and subscribe to our channel. And you can also check out our merchandise store. The link will be below. So for the Stock Car Spectacle, I'm Ian Jortson.
I'm McKenzie.
I'm Tom Hoblin. Safe travels, boys.
Yep. Thank you very much, Tom. And we'll see you guys next time. Enjoy the Daytona 500.